I am Neil Larthos. I am the next Abdullah. You are the next Neville Goddard. Your SP gets wet, moist, every single time they think of you, and your bank account makes Jeff Bezos look homeless. Really quick, if you want to manifest the reality of your dreams, the links are in the description. Guys, without further ado, you manifest your SP so much that you are starting to ghost all the love interests in your life. Now, obviously, I can't make that the actual precise title to this video because a lot of you guys watch TikTok and will not even be able to handle that beautiful masterpiece of a title. So I'm going to shorten it so that way the monkey brain can understand. Is that okay for you guys? Okay. But welcome to the Neil Larthos kingdom. Okay. Now, first of all, over here, it's still fucking 40 degrees and let's just say where I'm at, we are not used to that, okay? So bear with me, guys, while my balls are still coming back to planet Earth here, okay? There we go. Look, when you start to enter the state that you will eventually become whenever you detach from this whole manifestation of your SP, okay, you're gonna realize that you no longer want them like you once did. And no, this is not gonna be me trying to cope and tell you, like, you know, working with me means that I'm gonna find you either your SP or somebody better, right? Well, look, the only reason why I've said that before is not that I'm telling you that some cases are impossible. No, anything is possible with God, okay? And you are God. But I've always said that a lot of the times you will jump into this, you will enter into this state, I should say. I don't know why jumping, right? But you will enter into that state where you don't care, and you'll find out that all of a sudden, not only are you on the pedestal, but your SP left the ship. It no longer, SP left the chat. They're no longer desirable anymore. They no longer look like that delicious Oreo McFlurry anymore, right? You all of a sudden got full. Like if you just ate 3 large orders of McDonald's fries and you no longer want the McFlurry anymore, you're good. Why? Because you are fucking full of yourself. Literally. Like, I mean, that phrase that talks about being selfish, being full of yourself, it could not be any more on point and accurate. You do start to feel full when you put yourself on the pedestal, okay? That's why the Bible talks about my cup runneth over, right? Your cup is already filled to the brim. You are not dehydrated. You are constantly getting this unlimited refills of the soda of your fucking self-concept, right? Well, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. I remember when I went through a pussy drought and I was like, what the fuck? Even the chicks that I'm not even attracted to are giving me weird vibes. Like if they're treating me like if I don't exist. Usually I would be able to get their attention easily, right? Like for some of you women, imagine if all the guys, all the thirsty guys in your DMs all of a sudden just stopped texting you and you were not getting any attention. Don't fucking tell me like, oh, finally, I wish they would just leave me alone. You might not want to suck their dick, but you want them to suck the attention out of you, okay? You want their attention. You live off that attention. And even us guys, we might not necessarily want so much attention, but we want to feel desired. It's the same shit, okay? Even when a person who we're not attracted to, and I got to be careful not to say a fat girl or, you know, a girl with 4 eyes, because, you know, all of a sudden all the clients that I have that are fat or have 4 eyes are going to be like, you see, you don't understand me, Neil. You're just so judgmental. If I was skinny, then maybe you would listen to me. Do I have to get HR to do a fucking interview on the podcast? Okay, I like women. All right, put it in the fucking newspaper. But either ways, when we don't get the attention, it bothers us. So I remember I was going through a pussy drought, and I was like, man, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck is going on? I have always had success with women, but I remember I just started getting rejected left and right. You know, all the hoes that I had in the gauntlet started to disappear. And I was like, what gives? Did I gain weight? You know, did my forehead grow an inch more to the front? No. I was seeing the reflection of my self-concept, because when I look back at when I was having this pussy drought, I was going through something in my personal life that basically fucked up my self-concept, and I slacked a little bit. I started accepting the 3D as Bible. I started thinking like, okay, so since A is happening, this must mean B. This is not what happened, but if, you know, a loved one died in my life, then this means that my life sucks. So therefore, what did I keep seeing in my life? My life sucks. My life sucks. Career issues. Boss always yelling at me. Parents getting mad at me. And fucking, of course, the pussy ran a fucking away like the police in the hood, right? But I beg to differ, right? So I went through this pussy drought, and this is how I created pedestalizations. Okay, what did I do? I said, you know what, I'm gonna get back on the grind, just like I've always did, just like I always would go to the drawing boards after a breakup or after a big failure in my career. I always figured out a way to come back, and this time I was coming back with a vengeance. I said, no, I'm not just going to affirm, I am going to fucking go crazy. My affirm is gonna make her want my sperm. And what did I do? I created self-pedestalizations. I just out of nowhere, remember one time I was going to return some Nikes, and I was on the highway, and I don't know what happened. I just started saying, you know, fuck all these affirmations of I'm love, and, you know, I'm abundance, and I am, everything is great, and isn't it wonderful, you know, with Mr. Sandman, do, give me a ring, dum bum bum bum. It's not always like that, okay? Even though I love that song, I don't know what it is, but it's like you're at JCPenney in the hours of the morning, right? But still, okay? I said, fuck that shit. I'm gonna go crazy. We're going heavy metal. I said that all my fucking SPs have a life-size poster on their wall that they pray and bow down to every single night. I said that all my SPs are flowers in my garden, and I'm the fucking sun. I said that I am gravity, and they are my fucking satellites in my solar system. Okay? And I did not robotically affirm like Sammy Ingram says, which, by the way, I still love her. She's sexy. I love her to death. But, I mean, with all due respect, sweet girl, you don't have to robotically affirm all the time. Okay? And that's not me shitting on other creators, but I'm sorry, I have to call people out sometimes. I only said it 3 times, and I started getting fucking my phone blown up by this bitch who blew the fuck out of my balls. One of the best blowjobs I've ever had in a long time. And yes, she was a MILF, but I don't care. Great ass, Latina. Call HR. It was great. Okay? And it got to the point where at first I was chasing her, and she ended up being the one chasing me. Okay? Then on top of that, we get another new girl at the workplace, call HR, and I mean, bro, she could not stop fucking staring at me, making excuses, even bugging me while I'm on break, asking me about how old I am, and all this fucking bullshit. Like, we're back in the fucking 10th grade. Okay? And that doesn't even include the other 4 that I added to the gauntlet. 2 of them had boyfriends. Okay? And one of them ended up being my current girlfriend. I mean, should I say fucking less? It got to the point where I actually had to block one of them. And the other 4, not including my girlfriend, so the other 3, they were just starting. I mean, I didn't have time for any of them. It got to the point where I used to feel like I had to respond quick to women because they were the only women in my phone. I felt like I better fucking respond to them in 20 seconds, even though they are taking 20 hours, because at the end of the day, they're all I have. It went from that to where I would wake up 2 days later and they're sending me a barrage of texts and saying, "Hello, stranger. Are you mad?" I'm like, what do you fuck? I'm doing great. How are you? Oh, shit. I haven't texted you in 2 days, 3 days. And it wasn't this whole thing of me listening to alpha male strategies and like, you gotta fucking wait 2 times extra the amount of time that she takes. And if they take 30 minutes, you take 30 years. Bro, I wasn't fucking keeping myself occupied going to the pub. I wasn't fucking playing video games and playing hard to get. I literally had so many other options that some of these girls, I had no other choice but to fucking forget. Because I was the one who's being chased. And remember, I only said these affirmations, I think maybe 3 or 5 times. They were so fucking crazy when I started doing these self-pedestalization affirmations. And the only reason why I call them self-pedestalization is because they're affirmations on steroids. They are not just you saying that you are love, you're abundance. They are saying that bro, your SPs need you more than food, water, and air. You're more addicting than fucking cocaine, methamphetamine, and TikTok combined. And for women, it's saying something like, all my SPs are eating me out while I'm on the throne. I'm wearing my crown. My main SP is feeding me Chick-fil-A on a silver platter. And my other hoe that I like, but not as much as my main SP, is feeding me Starbucks in a golden flask. It's saying shit like that. And when I said these things just a few times, it's like I popped the virgin sherry of my subconscious. My subconscious literally had orgasms of cum coming out of its spiritual cup. My cup was runneth over. And because I gave myself the experience just from those affirmations, which, by the way, I'm not saying you always have to, that you can only use my affirmations and not Sammy Ingram's. I'm not saying that, but still, I'm saying that you got to put yourself on the pedestal, okay? So I wanted to make a short video and just end it right here and say, look, when you get into the state of having your SP, you don't have to have your SP to get into the state. You don't have to have 5 different hoes in order to manifest your SP. Okay? That's Sonny and Cher playing in the background. Hello. Shout out to Athena Raven and Joseph Eli. You don't have to get the thing in order to manifest your state. When you get into the state, that's how you manifest. Okay? So, a quick tip, instead of waiting to get that text from your SP, instead of waiting for the choosing signal, well, you're hoping that she will look at you and give you a smile at the gym. Finally, she gives you attention. No, you give yourself that attention, whether it's through self-pedestalizations, whether it's through you doing a technique like Eric talks about, the Adonis effect, where you're putting yourself on the pedestal, or whether you just have an imaginal act where you say, where, like, if you're a woman and you imagine yourself on the throne being fed fucking Raising Cane's in a golden platter, okay, and they have your Gucci shoes ready in a box, in a whole fucking delivery truck, I should say, right? And for men, you got all your last 3 fucking crushes. One is sucking the head of the dick, and then the other 2 have 1 testicle per mouth, okay? Whatever you have to do to give yourself the feeling, give yourself that feeling, whether it's through an imaginal act, whether it's through self-pedestalizations. For me, I prefer self-pedestalizations because I don't need to remind myself visually who I am, because I naturally have already seen myself like that. And when I claim it with the self-pedestalization, I just already get it. But again, you can do it imaginally, you can do it self-pedestalized, or The end game is where you don't have to use techniques. You just simply experience whatever the 3D shows you, where your ego is talking shit. She didn't look at you. You're retarded. She will never date you. You're 5'6". She only likes buff guys who are 6'2" and are basketball players. And you literally tell yourself, nope, she wants me. And that is all you'll have to do. Now, most of you guys are not there yet because you're not like me, who has already gotten tired of using techniques and just want to simply decide from my God state. The quickest way to get to that is to remind yourself that you are not the mind, you are not the body, you are just the observer. And when you can do techniques from the awareness and not from the body, not from the mind, you'll notice that, first of all, the techniques will seem boring because you're not really imagining anymore. You're not really doing affirmations per se, because a lot of the affirmations come from the body wanting that anxiety of, I want to feel something. A lot of the imaginal acts are coming from, I want to see if I'm doing it right. The mind, the ego, right? Because at the end of the day, even when you're doing techniques, you're still doing it in a way from a state of lack. But because they will get you into the state that eventually leads you to your God power, that's how they help you manifest. But it's never the technique. The technique itself is a form of lack. It is who you are being when you do the technique. Okay? Like when you're ironing your clothes. Okay? It's not the iron itself. It's the fucking heat that's coming from the iron. But you have to plug it in. Right? The only way that you plug in your technique is when you get into the state. That is the actual power from the technique itself. Okay? So again, when you separate, you will notice that all you will have to do is say, I have her, right? Instead of having to go through all these top 20 lists of affirmations, which, by the way, again, they will help you. Don't get me wrong. Affirmations, imaginal acts will help you. But I do want you to get to the point where you don't have to worry about pulling out your toolbox, where you can literally decide like a god on the throne that if I want to throw thunder strikes in California, I'm going to throw them. If I want to fucking throw a hellstorm over here in Canada because fuck the good eye mites, actually that's Australia, whatever, then fuck them. Okay? Which, by the way, again, Australia women, I'm not talking about you. Okay? I don't discriminate. But you should be able to look at the 3D, see that it's not working, and say, yeah, I already have her. Just like the way someone would ask you, hey, bro, do you still got that blue toothbrush? Yeah. Why? No reason. And then they walk away, and you're like, that's fucking weird. Somebody should be able to say, hey, do you have your SP? And the 3D might show that she's cheating on you with somebody else. But you should be like, in your mind, yeah. And then be able to move on. You can get to that point when you simply ask yourself, what would the version of me who had a time machine and already had the SP and already had the money, but took a time machine to go back in time, and now what you see in the 3D is what they would be experiencing when they went to the past in the time machine. What would that future version who has the SP be feeling and reacting? How would they respond to the fact that they can't admit that they're from the future, so they have to play dumb? Like Robert Greene talks about in The Art of Seduction, play dumb, which is like you don't want to let them know what you're in. You don't want to let them know that you're in on the secret. So you just be like, oh, yeah. Oh, she has a husband? Okay, cool. In your mind, you're like, bro, he is in for one hell of a surprise. You would, I mean, again, look at the way Marty McFly was, okay? When he already knew what was going to happen with his parents, okay? Now, of course, he had to fucking, realize that he was intertwining with, or the Avengers when they went back in time, okay? They already knew what was happening in New York. They already knew that Loki was going to get arrested and all this bullshit. As long as they didn't actually fuck with the fucking Tesseract or whatever, they were good, right? As long as they played dumb and didn't let anybody know that they were from the future, they were good, right? When Tony Stark met his dad, he knew where the Pym particles were, okay? You know that you already have SP. That's what true acting as if is no matter what the 3D shows you, you act as if the person who already had SP had a time machine and was experiencing this now. So in other words, they would not actually imagine if fucking the Avengers went back in time, right? And fucking saw the stuff that was going on in New York from the first movie. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world. Imagine if you saw Iron Man, who's usually always playing it cool, crying because he's like, oh, this is over. They'd be like, dude, we already survived Ultron. We already survived Thanos. What the fuck are you talking about? Right? Okay, well, to be fair, they didn't survive Thanos. But you get the point. Okay? Just stop the bullshit. Okay? What would the version of you who has SP be feeling if they already knew the end of the story? Okay? How many... I mean, this... I am Neil Lartos. This is all that the I Am Awareness had to say. And I know you're going to be okay.